All right, it's a gloomy, rainy Central Texas day. Not cold though, it's pretty pleasant out there. Anyway, I'm on my way. I'm going to be doing some record hunting, of course. First though, I've got to stop at a buddy's place and pick up my wonderful old 70s vintage studio tape recorder. Tascam, no, it's a TIAC, 3440 I believe. I can never remember model numbers, but this thing is hell on wheels, so maybe I'll get to look at some records while I'm there anyway. Well, let's do the obligatory walk through the thrift shop, see what we can come up with. Well, time to hit the old salt mine again and see what we can turn up here. Yeah, both hands. Well, I've had a whole lot of nothing today. I did get to pick up my reel-to-reel that I'll be using for some coming up recordings, and that will be fun. And wasn't much wrong with it, so that was a nice cheap fix. So anyway, I'm going to continue, as the record gods aren't smiling down on me today, but maybe up ahead I'll find something. I never really stress if I don't find anything on a particular jaunt. There's always something out there I'll eventually run into and make it all worthwhile. Doesn't cost me but a little gas and a little time. Might be a good moment to take the time and tell you what I look for especially. I'm in the 1950s, 1960s, 45 RPM records, mostly independent label, rock and roll, rockabilly, blues, R&B, vocal groups, Cajun, really good gospel music, especially if it's done by a string band or a real wild vocal quintet or something. Also, not looking for pop, big band, just top 40 type stuff. There's lots of that around. It doesn't do me much good. Some people specialize in it for the DJ or jukebox world. It's just not my bag. 78 wise, I look for 1900 to whenever they quit making them, you know, about 1960 or so for the most part. I still make my own 78s, but that's another story. But anyway, I don't look for big band or pop there either. No popular vocalists, no classical, you know, no Frank Sinatra, Bing Crosby. Everybody who does this has their story about somebody saying, well, I've got these records here, but I've got a great one. It's Bing Crosby's White Christmas. Oh my, what would you give me for it? Not much, nothing at all. I don't need it. There's millions of those things around, so, you know. It's the same way with Elvis on RCA. Most of that's not worth much, but it says Elvis on there, so people think it's worth a mint. 78 wise, I like blues, raw hillbilly, small label stuff for the most part, Delta blues, of course, early jazz, I mean late teens through the 20s, hot dance bands, of course rock and roll, rockabilly, hillbilly from the 50s, not a whole lot from the 40s that I like. I'll pick up some blues and R&B from there, the occasional hillbilly item. So that's pretty much it for what I'm looking for record-wise. Of course, old guitars, amplifiers, things like that. Although it's harder to find those regularly. But anyway, it's a little quick 101 of what I like. Now let's keep looking. Like and share, please. So I've got a big antique mall coming up here. One time, I was with my son here, Jesse Lee, and I passed by while we were in the mall a stack of brightly colored children's records. He goes, Dad, there's records. Yeah, they're kids' records. Dad, they're records, check. Found a record by Major Harris, a Houston soul singer, hiding in that pile. Well, that netted me a lot of money, and it netted him a bunch of really good games for his Nintendo Wii. That or the PS3. I can't remember which one. He was happy, I was happy. Guy in England was happy to get that record. Just because he told me, so don't pass things up. Anyway, chase that rabbit a bit, but I'm about to go in here and see what's what. Well, this is great. Lightning strikes twice. They're in good shape. I got a couple of 78s by my favorite gospel duo of all, Curt and Faye Bartmess. And this is just some incredibly good hillbilly to almost rockabilly gospel. Barry Manilow is not part of that. Well, do a little bit more wandering. We're walking, we're looking, and we're looking. I'll try not to swing it back and forth. My daughter did a preview of one of these, and she said it made her dizzy. Oh well. Well, all right. Just when I thought the record gods had forsaken me, I ended up with two wonderful 78s by Curt and Faye Bartmess. I actually met Curt back about 19 years ago, maybe, and he was in his 80s at the time. I'm sure he's long gone by now. He did a bunch of songs that, well, not so many, but he did some songs that I just really loved, musically and collectability, of course. So he got out his Gibson electric mandolin and played The Downward Road and accompanied me while I sang it. And he didn't realize anybody still remembered any of his songs because none of them were hits. And some beautiful records by him and his wife, Faye. Then I've got this one, just kind of on a gamble. And this is a Quarteto Monterrey on Vocalion, late 20s, early 30s. And hopefully that'll turn out to be something of interest. I do buy a lot of Latino-type string bands, early orchestras, hot dance bands. Collectors like them, I like them, and it's good music. Good music is good music. So I'm not really sure where else I should check today. Today wasn't really slated to be a long-distance record trip or anything like that. I just go where I end up while I'm doing other things. So I've got possibly a couple more places to check. I've kind of checked them recently, but it doesn't hurt to try again. You know, they sell stuff. Maybe they replenish their shelves. I'll be back on shortly. I gotta watch traffic. Well, found a place that's got some 45s. Gotta check them out. Like I always say, I'm gonna need both hands for this. So, I'll see you on the other side. Well, no love for me at that place. I have found things there before. I did check that about 2 or 3 weeks ago. Found a couple of neat 78s. So, just got to give them more time to load up with what I'm after. Hopefully nobody else will sneak in there and get it. I think I'm going to head home. It's been a good day. Only bought 3 records from one place. Spent $3 whole, but today was very successful just for that. I'll see you guys later. I think I've already said like and subscribe. Well, so I won't push the matter at all. Bye. Oh, I forgot to mention earlier in my rant about the kind of records I look for, I also forgot to mention soul and northern souls. That's a great genre to look for because the collectors for that are real rabid. They really like to pay for the good stuff, and that's the main thing. It's good music too. Also garage from the 60s. That's another genre that really has taken on a really rabid life of its own. So I'm happy with picking up all that stuff, moving it on to the collector that wants it, and me being able to sleep in on a Monday morning. Tuesdays sometimes too.